Would you refuse a job that earns you more than 100,000 euro a year? I have never told this story, but I know it will be helpful to many of you. I dreamed of becoming a programmer in a large software company as a child, and I followed that dream. Years later, I did it, and I worked as a software engineer for the big American company I dreamed of as a child. I had a job that brought me an excellent income and the opportunity to work in the United States. I had made my childhood dream come true. I earned more than I could dream of. I had enough money to buy whatever I want, to travel, even money I didn't know what it was for. And I left. I left everything behind. I quit my job before it was too late. Let me explain. In the last 4 years, I have learned 3 lessons that made me a decision to take a risk and quit my job to start living the life I want. Today, I will share these lessons with you. Lesson number 1. When I started working on the company, I went of training to learn how to work in a team. Working for this training, I realized that my small town is quite attractive. Life in a big city was so vibrant that the people don't have time to enjoy it. People in small towns have time to themselves and are much more earthly. You may know that I am talking about cool people. Christo was one of my colleagues from the countryside. He was been with the company for many years. He was the man who was involved in the setup of the company's office. You know people like him. He always joked about everything and lifted the spirit of the team members. Even the most difficult moments. I remember once talking to him and he explained how to start working for the company. When he was 18 and graduating for high school, he looked for a job and saw a grab position. The US boss was looking to hire people from Bulgaria and open an office in the small town to provide cheap labor. He was then part of the team that formed the office. Years later, he was the company's project manager. The office I worked in was designed to serve several local clients. One day, our biggest client decided to quit the office. He wasn't satisfied with the quality of the work provided by our company. He refused to work with us anymore. A day later, our manager had to tell everyone that we were closing the office and most of us would be looking for a new job, and some of the employees may be looking to work from home. He said it was time for everyone to start looking for a new job because who would say at home and work is unknown. The company itself had to be reorganized. When our manager Christo said this, some of the people who worked with him from the very beginning, even he had tears in the eyes. At the time, I asked myself many questions, including what will colleagues with have families with their monthly expenses do to lose your job from today to tomorrow. Some of my colleagues had worked in this office for many years and had just lost their job. It was a turning point in my life. I also learned one lesson I want to share with you. Then I realized that it doesn't matter how hard you work and how long you've been doing it and how constant you think it's your job. You have no control over these things. Many of my colleagues were unhappy that day because they didn't have a plan B. All this had until then was their job. What I realized then was the constant work is not constant. It was also the first time I wanted to depend on myself. I wanted to work for myself and create something of my own. I didn't want to rely on a manager, owner, or anyone. Lesson number 2. I was at an event of a big multi-level marketing company. At the event, I met one of the partners I work with. Then I started talking with him. He told me that he works 4 days a week, which was very strange. Why 4 days? I wondered. Finally, I decided to ask him, "And what are you doing in the other 3 days?" He replied, "I have more time for my family, to travel, to learn new things, to train, to do everything that people don't have time to do. There are so many things you can do with another day off." Here's I ask myself the question, why do people work so hard? This is usually for one of 3 reasons. They need money, they are emotionally depressed because they want their parents to be proud of them, economically depressed because they have to work to maintain their living standards. Whatever the reason is, the motivation to work for someone is different from the working for itself. You work because you have to, not because you love to do it. This is the worst reason to work. Unfortunately, this is why the most people work. The next motive is significant. This is when you have to real benefit for others. For example, doctors who save lives are in such a profession. They may not like the stress of their work, but they feel satisfied when they save lives. For the same reason, people who join Clarity events work, some work without money or very low pay because they want to help. Usefulness is a perfect motivator for work, but isn't optimal to enjoy it. The best way to do the job is to do it for yourself. It's like playing a computer game that you like, but in real life. Then your work seems like a game and the points are the results you reach. People often start playing games because they didn't find meaning in their lives and because what they have chosen to work doesn't satisfy them. One must feel significant to be satisfied. Working with pleasure is like watching a favorite movie, solving a puzzle, reading books, or driving a car you like. That's the best job. Creating videos is one of my favorite activities. This job is the best motivator we can feel. This is the most vital thing we can do for high productivity and success. Success is equal doing a job that makes you feel like you're doing a favorite thing while you get paid. The most important thing is to find a job that motivates you and makes you feel significant. We only have one life. We only have 50, 60 years to do whatever we want if we work inspired by stress, and it costs us a huge amount of energy, mental and physical. Suppose you come home exhausted after every work day, how you will go to work for the next day and have the power to do this job well? This is what the people call of life from 9 to 5. But I have learned that no matter how hard I try to get out of this cell, it will worth it. It may take me a year or 10 years, but I will get the point where I won't fail. This was a primary motivation to start my own business. I knew that the longer I delayed, the harder it will be for me. And then later I would achieve financial independence and a job I loved. It took me 8 years to get the point where I do what I love and have time for myself. Now I live my life the way I want to do. I went from student to worker and from worker to freelancer, and I'm now growing as a content creator. Share this story to motivate people who often say, I don't know what to do. I do this because I have found that creating content makes me feel great, and when I teach people something, it makes me think valuable. This is something that was missing in my work as a software engineer. I didn't feel inspired by this work, so after we learned that the work from 9 to 5 is not as safe as it seems, and the best work for the one you feel like a game, how to do the job, we feel like a game. Lesson 3. Let's go to lesson number 3. At the age of 16, I wanted to work and found a job as a computer operator, but how can a child know what he wants to do when he grows up? How to find a job he loves? How to choose a profession that will make him feeling significant. How we will know which profession will be impact for us and others for the rest of our lives. At this point, I didn't wonder what I was going to do after I graduated, but rather than I was going study to keep it cool, asking the wrong question, what is cool to learn? I also received an answer, work as a software engineer. Nobody told me that there were the other options. Nobody told me that there were the marketing, advertising, influencer job and online e-commerce. I had no idea that people who make videos on YouTube make money. Nobody told me that I had to create value to be rewarded. You can work 80 hours a week, but you don't get rich because it does not matter how hard you work. It matters what you give in value. You can work 80 hours a week, but you won't get rich because it doesn't matter how hard you work. It matters what you give in value to others. We earn in proportion of what we can provide to the world. When I look at my past, I studied for years so that I could work as a programmer. Nowadays, there's many companies where every experienced programmer can start for a high salary job, but the problem is that most programmers aren't satisfied with their work. They receive money for the hours they worked, bonuses and 13th salary. Some of them receive stocks of the companies after certain years of work. They receive part of the company's income but doesn't make them happy. This is the real reason I quit my job. I wanted to get fair pay for my work. I did, and it just means that it doesn't matter how many hours I work, it matters the results of my work. When I create a video on YouTube that doesn't have enough views, I get what I give money for views. However, when I make a video with value, I get as much as I deserve, no matter if it's funny or educational content. It doesn't matter how many hours I work, but how much value I give. When you start doing the job you love without caring about income, then you can reach true financial freedom. My videos will be here long after I create them. This means that they will bring value to people in future. I will receive a reward from every person who has changed their lives thanks to the content I make. Now, maybe someone will call me crazy. Should I quit a job that people dream of doing as a dropshipper and influencer? Do I feel wrong about this? No, of course, because we only have one life. This decision was the most important for me. To live a life I don't want and not take advantage of opportunities that other people don't even have. I think many people have the opportunity to live the life that wants but don't realize that. Watching this video means you have the internet, computer and phone. You can learn everything you want to follow your dreams for free under this condition. Is it scary? Sure. You have to choose whether you live a life which you feel insignificant or do what you want. One day, when you look back, you will see that your life is exactly what you want to be.